You know, over the last 6 years, Meghan Markle keeps inviting me to her Montecito place through mutual friends every chance she gets. It's honestly creepy. I don't know her at all, and we have nothing in common. I just don't get what she's after.
Hollywood thrives on whispers, but every once in a while, a single sentence detonates louder than a leaked script or a canceled deal. This time, it wasn't a tabloid. It wasn't a palace source. It was Jennifer Aniston, America's sweetheart, Hollywood's untouchable, drawing a hard public line and exposing what insiders now describe as a 6-year social pursuit gone wrong. And when Jennifer Aniston calls something creepy, Hollywood listens. Jennifer Aniston has just dropped a bombshell that's sending shockwaves through Hollywood's glittering facade. In a raw, no-holds-barred interview, the beloved Friends star revealed how she's been fending off persistent invitations from Meghan Markle to visit her Montecito mansion. Invitations that have allegedly come relentlessly through mutual friends over the past 6 years. This wasn't gossip whispered behind sunglasses. This wasn't anonymous sourcing. This was Aniston herself, calmly, plainly, dismantling a narrative that had quietly simmered in Montecito's manicured shadows. According to her own words, the invitations never stopped. Not once. Not casually. Not organically. Over and over again, through producers, through friends, through people she trusted, the message stayed the same: Meghan would love to have you over. And at first, it sounded harmless, neighborly, Hollywood polite. But 6 years later, it no longer felt friendly. It felt strategic. To understand why this hit like a thunderclap, you have to rewind to 2020, the year Meghan Markle arrived in Montecito with cameras still warm and bridges already burning behind her. She didn't choose that enclave by chance. Montecito isn't just rich, it's curated. It's where access is power and friendships are currency. Ellen, studio executives, quiet kingmakers. And in that ecosystem, Jennifer Aniston stands apart. She's not just famous, she's trusted. No scandals, no erratic feuds. A reputation built on longevity, loyalty, and a circle that doesn't expand easily. Courtney Cox, Sandra Bullock, Jimmy Kimmel. Decades-deep relationships that survived fame's worst storms. To insiders, Aniston wasn't just a neighbor. She was the ultimate validation. And according to mounting whispers, Meghan knew it. Sources tracking Montecito's social choreography said the pattern was unmistakable. First came subtle mentions, then casual nudges, then consistent reminders, always indirect, always through someone else. You'd really get along. She's hosting something small. It's just tea. But Aniston didn't bite. By 2023, the invitations reportedly escalated. Timing, critics say, was never random. An Emmy nomination here, a major project buzz there. Each milestone allegedly followed by another soft push to connect. That's when something shifted. Because Jennifer Aniston doesn't live chaotically. She lives intentionally. And insiders claim she began sensing the rhythm behind the request, not warmth, but alignment. Not curiosity, but leverage. By 2024, the whispers grew sharper. Friends reportedly noticed Aniston's discomfort. Her polite refusals became firmer. The invites didn't stop. Then came 2025, the year Aniston endured a terrifying real-life stalker incident that hardened her boundaries permanently. Privacy wasn't optional anymore. Safety wasn't negotiable. And yet, according to the narrative now unfolding, the invitations kept coming. That's when persistent became creepy. In her recent interview, Aniston didn't dramatize it. She didn't embellish. That's what made it devastating. She admitted she doesn't know Meghan. She admitted they have nothing in common. And she admitted she doesn't understand what Meghan wants. That last line landed like a gavel. Because in Hollywood, want is everything. And insiders immediately began connecting dots that had been ignored for years. Let's be blunt. Meghan Markle's Hollywood era has been turbulent. Big announcements, mixed results. High-profile deals followed by quiet disappearances. A lifestyle brand teased, stalled, and reworked. A foundation praised, questioned, then faded from headlines. What's been missing? Endorsement from Hollywood's inner sanctum. No deep A-list bonds. No entrenched alliances. No seamless integration into the old guard. And that's where critics argue Jennifer Aniston became the fixation. Aniston's approval wouldn't just open doors, it would sanitize reputations. Sitting at her table means you're safe, you're trusted, you belong. Insiders now allege Meghan wasn't chasing friendship. She was chasing credibility. Hollywood watchers point out how the invitations allegedly morphed over time. What began as social quickly carried undertones of collaboration, wellness overlaps, charity synergies, casual talk of shared values. But Aniston didn't engage. And that rejection? It echoed. By 2025, observers noticed something else. Meghan's Montecito circle wasn't expanding. It was shrinking. A few loyal names remained, but the inner rings stayed stayed closed. Aniston's silence wasn't accidental, it was deliberate. And when she finally spoke, she didn't just decline an invitation, she detonated a narrative. Social media erupted within hours. Fans praised Aniston for setting boundaries without cruelty. Industry insiders quietly nodded. Royal watchers drew uncomfortable parallels to Meghan's past patterns: strained relationships, relentless outreach, sudden coldness when rebuffed. But the most damaging part wasn't public reaction. It was the silence from Meghan's camp. No denial, no clarification, no reframing, just quiet. The same quiet Aniston described after every refusal. And that silence has now become the loudest confirmation of all. Because in Hollywood, when someone powerful labels a pattern creepy, the doors don't just close, they lock. This wasn't a feud. It was a shutdown. And as Montecito insiders whisper behind hedges and gates, one thing is already clear. Jennifer Aniston didn't just protect her peace, she exposed a playbook, a 6-year pursuit, a miscalculated climb, and a social wall that finally refused to bend. What makes this saga truly unsettling isn't just the rejection, it's the machinery behind it. The invisible network of mutual friends, power brokers, and intermediaries that allegedly turned a simple no into a 6-year endurance test. Because according to insiders, Meghan Markle didn't knock on Jennifer Aniston's door directly. She let others do it for her. And that's where everything crossed the line. Hollywood insiders said the pressure never came straight. It flowed sideways, through producers at dinner parties, through agents at charity galas, through well-meaning acquaintances suddenly carrying messages they didn't ask to deliver. She'd really love to connect. It would mean so much. It's just neighborly. But repetition changes tone. And over time, those nudges stopped feeling casual and started feeling orchestrated. Multiple sources now claim this indirect approach mirrored a familiar pattern one critic say Meghan has used before. No confrontation, no direct ask, just persistent presence through proxies, creating social pressure without accountability. If Jennifer said no, she wasn't saying it to Meghan, she was saying it to friends, over and over again. That alone made the situation uncomfortable. Because in Hollywood, mutual friends aren't neutral, they're bridges, and bridges crack when too much weight is applied. By 2023, insiders say some intermediaries began pulling back altogether, quietly refusing to pass messages along, not out of loyalty to Meghan, but to protect themselves from the awkward fallout. One source described it as being stuck in the middle of a social chess game you didn't agree to play. Jennifer Aniston, meanwhile, wasn't playing any game at all. She was watching. She noticed how invitations shifted when she had career highs. She noticed how group events replaced one-on-one attempts, disguising the original intent. She noticed how silence followed her refusals until the next wave began. And then came the breaking point. According to insiders, the timing of Aniston's interview was no accident. It landed just as Meghan was attempting yet another public reinvention, brand launches, visibility pushes, carefully curated appearances. Aniston's words cut straight through that momentum, reframing years of quiet persistence as something unsettling. One word did all the damage. Creepy. That word doesn't argue. It doesn't invite rebuttal. It shuts doors instantly. Hollywood understands that language. Once that label sticks, no one wants to be adjacent to the behavior or the person associated with it. And that's when the ripple effects reportedly became immediate. Insiders claim the indirect invitation stopped cold. Mutual friends went silent. Casual mentions vanished. The social air around Montecito shifted, not loudly, but decisively. Critics now argue this moment exposed a deeper flaw in Meghan's post-royal strategy, mistaking proximity for belonging. Montecito may be physically small, but socially it's fortified. Entry isn't earned through location or persistence. It's earned through time, trust, and restraint. Jennifer Aniston embodies that restraint. She doesn't expand her circle impulsively, she doesn't reward pressure, and she doesn't confuse politeness with permission. That's why her rejection carries weight beyond this one situation. It sends a signal, not just about Meghan, but about behavior Hollywood no longer tolerates. Observers are already drawing comparisons to other whispered experiences. Neighbors who cooled, industry figures who disengaged, invitations that stopped being returned. No confrontations, just distance. And in Hollywood, distance is everything. For Meghan Markle, the implications are brutal because her Montecito dream wasn't just about privacy. It was about reinvention through association, about being seen not as controversial, not as divisive, but as seamlessly integrated into elite circles. Jennifer Aniston represented the final seal of approval. Without it, critics say the illusion fractures. Instead of a buzzing hub of collaboration, Meghan's world now appears strangely quiet. Few organic A-list endorsements, sparse social visibility, carefully staged moments without without the spontaneous warmth of true belonging. Insiders whisper that the isolation is becoming noticeable, even uncomfortable. And what makes it worse is the response from Meghan's camp. There wasn't one, no denial, no clarification, no friendly anecdote to soften the narrative. Silence. That silence, critics argue, validated Aniston's discomfort more than any rebuttal could have, because if this was a misunderstanding, someone would have spoken. Instead, Hollywood moved on, quietly, collectively. Jennifer Aniston, on the other hand, emerged stronger. Her interview wasn't aggressive. It wasn't cruel. It was controlled, measured, final. She didn't accuse. She didn't speculate. She simply described her experience and trusted the audience to understand. That's power. In an industry addicted to noise, she used clarity as a weapon. And now, insiders say, others feel emboldened to do the same, to draw lines, to stop rewarding persistence disguised as friendliness, to say no without apology. If that's true, this wasn't just a personal boundary. It was a cultural reset. As Hollywood watches the fallout, one question lingers heavier than the rest. Will Meghan adapt? Will she abandon the aggressive networking, the indirect pressure, the assumption that access can be worn down over time? Or will this moment mark the beginning of a deeper withdrawal, a quiet exile inside one of the most exclusive zip codes in America? Because one thing is undeniable now. Jennifer Aniston didn't just decline an invitation. She exposed a pattern. She named it. And once named, it can never operate the same way again. The gates of Montecito are still pristine. The estates still gleam. But behind those manicured hedges, the rules have changed, and the silence left behind may be louder than any rejection ever spoken. Any rejection ever spoken. Any rejection ever spoken. Any rejection.